The first one is really the crown jewel or centerpiece of our center, which is the research opportunity process. And here's the way it works. We go to one of our corporate partners. Let's talk about the one we just had a conversation about this morning, StubHub. Okay? So we go to StubHub and say, you've got these monsters in the closets, you've got these big business problems you want to solve. It's not something that should be for day-to-day operations. It should be research, something that could take 6 to 9 months, something that's a persistent problem that you either don't have the bandwidth to solve or you can't solve right now. You'd like a team of academics to be thinking about these problems. So what StubHub will do is, through Ellie, StubHub will get a data set together and a set of problems that they're interested in solving, and we'll hold literally a webinar where Ellie from our side and StubHub from their side will be on a 1-hour webinar, let's say on a Friday at lunchtime, which is typically when we do it, and research teams from all over the world will be watching this webinar. So literally, the beauty, I think Ellie, Pete, and I were shocked the last time, not only have these become popular, where we literally had 500 research teams last one we held, either watching it live or watching the video recording of it, but people are actually having lunchtime seminars at their own school where there could be 50 faculty from a school watching the Wharton Customer Analytics Initiative webinar, and people from all disciplines getting together. The webinar will describe the data, it'll describe the research problem. We then put out a call for proposals where a research team will submit saying, if you give me the data, this is how I would approach the problem, this is what I would like to help the company solve, etc. Now you think about it, think about the economic transaction here. StubHub obviously has made some donation to the school to become a corporate partner. But think about those 500 academic teams. They're working for nothing, right? We're not paying them. But what are they getting out of it? Well, they're getting data. They're getting access to StubHub. They're getting access to an interesting problem. Ellie and the team of undergraduates and everybody she's got cleans up the data and does all the pre-preparing work. So it's a beautiful win-win transaction. You're a professor at the University of South Dakota who's got a brilliant idea who would never get access to StubHub. But through this research opportunity process, whether you're in Beijing, whether you're in Hong Kong, whether you're in Dubai, you can watch the webinar, you can get access to the data, you can submit a proposal. So Pete described one of our missions is obviously to be the thought leader. The great news is we've already taken over the academic space. Literally, people are waiting for these webinars to come out. Whenever I travel, they're like, when's the next one coming? And we're like, we're working on it. We're working as fast as we can. And so the good news is academics, not just in our home discipline, marketing, but in statistics, operations, computer science, information systems, they're all aware of these webinars. They've gotten a huge amount of press and have branded Wharton as the thought leader in the customer analytics space. So that's the crown jewel. When we go to a corporate partner and say, if you join our center as a corporate partner, here's what you get, that's what they get. They get access to a research network from all over the world. They don't know who the best academics are. They don't know how to access these people. They don't know how to clean up the data, put it in an appropriate way, frame it in a way to academics. We do. So that's really the number one benefit. So that's the research opportunity process. The themed research cycle is every year we at the Wharton Customer Analytics Initiative pick a topic. So for example, the first year we were in existence was social networks. So we had a conference, we then had a conference on social networks in December 2008, January 2009. The next year it was user-generated content, so data that emerges from blogs and posts and stuff like that. Last year it was cross-platform, multi-channel behavior, so can you link together people's behavior brick and mortar and online, or what if somebody buys, watches video, watches video, web, and maybe mobile. Can you link together people's behaviors across different distribution channels? That was last year. This year's the year of mobile. So we're trying to put together a set of topics and partner with various companies. We're trying to see what kind of research is being done there in the mobile space. And again, it has, as Pete described, has to be data-oriented. We're not interested in potentially the technological impact that mobile technology will have on the world. That's great. There's a Mac Center for Technology that is willing to do that. We're the data guys. So we're trying to find out what kind of data is out there. This is the year of mobile. Direct match projects might be company XYZ approaches us. We just happen to know who the best researchers, in our opinion, are in the world. We actually just directly contact those researchers. So unlike the research opportunity process where we put it out there for hundreds and hundreds of researchers around the world, direct match might be, an example would be 2 of our former students actually did work on customer churn and reasons for people doing customer churn. And it happened that it was Neutrogena actually has interest in understanding why people stop using their products. And so when the project came to Ellie, she was like, well, I just literally read last week a paper of 2 people who just studied this. So there's no reason to put it out for a research opportunity process. We know of researchers who have specifically worked on that. Application projects, I think, are extremely interesting and valuable and have a tremendous opportunity from a learning perspective. A lot of the work, more so that Pete has done than I have done, there are established methods that can be applied to projects today. And so application projects, it's not new research, it's not necessarily going to be publishable in a journal, but maybe there's a doctoral student or an MBA student or an undergraduate that wants to learn these techniques, that wants to take an existing method and apply it to a real data set. We call those applications projects. So it's the application of an existing method to an interesting data set. And so then the student learns the method, the student learns the technique, the company gets the application of this technique, win-win. We teach students, companies get the application.
The faculty member also gets to promote their work in industry.
Ah, well that too. So the company, that's true, good point. So the company will actually get to see, hey, this method's actually applicable. Grants to Penn faculty. We've actually spent a fair amount of time. I mean, I want to make sure Nicole knows I say this. We don't have an overabundance of money. If we had an overabundance of money, we'd be an institute and not an initiative. We're hoping to be an institute someday. But once we are an institute, we'll have hopefully an overabundance of money. But we do support research cycles like many other Wharton centers, where we'll say to our colleagues, our 220 colleagues, that are faculty, if you have research that's related to customer analytics, we're happy to consider supporting you. I would love to believe that all of this academic stuff is going to have impact, and it is. It's important that we're thought of as the academic thought leader, but it's also important that we're thought of as someone that can deliver that content to an executive audience. And so we're ready. I mean, we want to put together, whether it's a 1-day, 2-day, 4-day program on customer analytics. And so we've had a number of conversations with people in executive education, but bottom line is we have content that we believe the right set of managers, right positioned as customer analytics, would be extremely interested in. So again, we will be developing and are ready to deliver content in executive education. Okay? Just moving on a little bit, here are some. We also have many student-oriented programs inside the industry where we get someone to come in from a particular industry and really to say what's it like to be in that industry. Executive in residence. We're not the first ones to have an executive in residence program, but why not copy what works with other centers? And so literally we get someone to come in for a day. They meet with students. Typically, if I have it right, who takes them to breakfast? Is it the undergrads? I was thinking it would be the opposite, because undergrads don't like getting up early. But the undergrads take them to breakfast. They have a bunch of meetings during the day. They give a seminar about what their life and career has been like. They get individualized meetings with students, and we're setting up a number of those. White papers is actually, was Ellie's idea. It's a great idea. There are a number of students that aren't mathematical. They don't want to learn higher level calculus, but they'd love to be able to take our academic papers and write a managerial version of them, sort of what Knowledge at Wharton does in some way. So they want to take customer analytics research and translate them into types of white papers and stuff. And so we're offering those opportunities, research assistantships. Actually, we actually hold monthly lab meetings where literally think of it as a scientific lab where we all get together and talk about, and Ellie runs those meetings where we talk about the research that we're doing. Obviously, there's a number of student-run programs. I'm hoping, just like the Interactive Media Group, which was under our old incarnation, which was started as an undergraduate club, our hope is that there will be a club formed. We would be thrilled if there were a club formed around customer analytics. And, that would be wonderful. And I don't know if it's going to be a Wharton group. Maybe it'll be, hopefully, a Penn-wide group, but that would be great. Career management, I think I'll just briefly, Pete mentioned this a lot. But there's no question in my mind that once people realize that we're training people in customer analytics, why wouldn't you come to Wharton then to hire students if you're interested in people in customer analytics? Because not only does business analytics concentration or track track, that Pete mentioned is going to be started. But we're training people in those techniques. We have opportunities through Ellie's work for them to actually work on real projects while they're here. So at the end of the day, if someone is interested in hiring in customer analytics, we want them to come to Wharton. Okay. And we're doing all kinds, and Nicole's doing a huge amount of work, both talking to HR people at various companies, collecting resumes. So one of the other things I should mention just briefly is a mentoring program, which has been wonderful. We get people that are actually, typically, are all our mentors right now Wharton graduates?
Yes.
Okay, so we get Wharton graduate mentors who are willing to work one-on-one with a student and actually talk to them once a month, and actually help mentor them. What would it mean to be having a career in customer analytics? And that's a huge attraction point for students that are considering Wharton versus other schools. I mean, we will match you up one-to-one with somebody that's in the industry, and it's a great opportunity. Okay. Just quickly, we have, every single one of these things, by the way, you can see why Rebecca's extremely busy and has 10 different job titles. We do lots of different types of events and dissemination, which includes, I already mentioned these annual research conferences. We're actually starting a new one probably going to be held in May. You all know about the Wharton Program for Social Impact that Len Lodish is running. This is a new vice dean position that's been created, and Cheryl Coleman, who works with him. Well, when Pete described, if you actually look down here at the bottom, see number 4 here says donors. If you actually think about one of the most data-driven verticals, it's actually nonprofits. They know who gave, and they know it over time. It's people doing things over time. So I don't want to say it's just our do-gooder side, but it is. It's partly that. But it's also partly, it is a great vertical to work in, is to apply the types of customer analytic methods we know to nonprofits. So we will be holding, whether it's in May or September, is not 100% sure, we will be holding a conference here that's going to be called something like Becoming a Data-Driven Customer Analytics Nonprofit something. Whatever thing you said this morning, Elliot, is what it's going to be. It's going to be something like that. We also run lots of events with industry associations. I think, Pete, you're speaking to who next month? The
Direct Marketing Association.
The Direct Marketing Association. Alumni networking activities and alumni events. Pete and I probably each became chairman's preferred last year on US Air because of the number of alumni events I attended, and Pete may have become double chairman's platinum preferred or chairman's preferred. If there's an alumni group anywhere in the world that's interested in hearing about customer analytics, we're happy to go, assuming it's the right group of audience. I'm not flying halfway around the world to meet with my brother, but I'm flying halfway around the world if we can get a good set of companies in the room that we can talk about it. Conference tracks, like we're in the field of marketing. The last couple of years at the big marketing conference, Marketing Science, we've actually co-sponsored a track on people interested in customer analytics. These are different types of research papers that we write. I hope everybody saw the recent article that just came out in Knowledge at Wharton about one of our flagship projects that we've done that Elliott's going to talk about a little bit in a second with ESPN and the World Cup that just happened in 2010. So our dream and hope is someday there will be a standalone tab in Knowledge at Wharton for customer analytics. So just like there's finance, marketing, etc., there will be one solely devoted to customer analytics. We can dream, and Nicole's our friend, so maybe. In terms of global activities, we've actually held a number of events in China. Actually, one of the things we're hoping to do, it's maybe a medium-term dream, is to actually run a summer institute on customer analytics in China. It would be a 6-week institute that we would do in conjunction with Chinese universities to train doctoral students and junior faculty in China in the kind of mathematical methods that we do for a living. It's not that much of a dream. It's a dream, but it's not that far off from being a reality. We're really hopeful that that will happen.